If you do not master the next few minutes, you will sacrifice not just hours, not just days, but the next decades of your life. This is not a parade of empty motivational cliches. What you are about to hear is a Machiavellian audit, a ruthless examination of the 15 most decisive skills that separate those who ascend to wealth, power, and influence from those who remain bound to mediocrity, forever spectators in a game they never learned to play. By the time this journey ends, you will know precisely which weapons you already wield, which ones you lack, and how to sharpen them until they cut through resistance itself. Think of this not as a lecture, but as a mirror the powerful use to see truths that ordinary men will pass by without noticing. Ignore even a single part, and you forfeit an advantage that could have compounded across years, perhaps even generations. But if you remain until the final word, you will walk away with a blueprint that most men live and die never encountering. That is the choice standing before you. Now, the first skill is discipline, the foundation stone of sovereignty. Machiavelli warned with brutal clarity, a man who cannot command himself cannot command fortune. Discipline is not a single heroic effort. It is not about bursts of energy fueled by inspiration. Discipline is the rhythm of action, unyielding, relentless, day after day. Picture your life as an army. Without discipline, your soldiers wander. They scatter without aim. Battles are lost before they even begin, and enemies, fear, doubt, distraction, advance unchecked. But with discipline, your forces align. Each day marches in tight formation toward your objective. Every action, no matter how small, becomes a step in a campaign that cannot be derailed. Discipline means waking at the same hour, whether the sky is clear or the rain is merciless, whether your mood is eager or your spirit heavy. It means advancing your purpose first, before the noise of the world claims your attention. Start with the smallest territories of life. Control your mornings, control your environment, control the battlefield nearest to you. And from there, you begin to bend destiny itself. Without discipline, wealth is illusion. Without discipline, ambition collapses into dust. Self-mastery is the root, but even that alone is not enough. The second skill is emotional intelligence, the ability to read men as effortlessly as you read words on a page. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must be both lion and fox. The lion, fierce enough to strike fear. The fox, subtle enough to detect the snares of others. This dual nature, strength and subtlety combined, is the essence of emotional intelligence. In practice, it is the awareness that money does not flow to the man who has memorized the most facts or collected the greatest number of certificates. It flows to the man who knows how to enter another's mind, who understands the secret architecture of their desires, their fears, their unspoken needs. For in every transaction, whether business, politics, or relationships, the battlefield is not numbers, but emotions. Win the heart, and the mind follows. Fail to understand the currents of emotion, and even the sharpest intellect drowns. Ask yourself this: can you sense when praise carries poison, when words dressed in admiration conceal envy? Can you hear the resistance that hides inside silence? Can you detect the tremor of insincerity behind a handshake, or the fear concealed beneath confidence? If not, then you walk into negotiations blind. You may think you are dealing in facts and logic, but in truth, you are navigating a battlefield whose weapons are invisible emotions. To sharpen this skill, you must begin with yourself. Study your own heart, as though it were a map. When anger rises, record it. When envy stirs, trace it to its root. When joy erupts, identify the spark. By dissecting your own inner tides, you develop the eye to recognize them in others. Soon, every conversation becomes a page of code you can read. Every smile, every hesitation, every choice of words reveals an undercurrent. The one who can interpret these signals does not merely participate in the game, he controls it. Once you can command yourself, And once you can read others, you must ignite the third skill, self-motivation. Machiavelli observed a truth that has not aged a single day. Fortune favors the bold, never the hesitant. On your journey to wealth, you will pass through deserts of silence. Long stretches where applause is absent, where no hand claps your back, where no crowd gathers to cheer you forward. If your will depends on the approval of others, you will collapse in those barren lands. Motivation cannot be borrowed. It must be forged in the furnace of your own vision. Close your eyes and see it, not vaguely, but in detail so sharp it burns. See the mornings unchained from servitude. See the house that reflects your sovereignty. Walls rising not just from stone, but from the proof of your determination. See the companions at your table, not parasites, not doubters, but allies who share your fire. Fix this vision where your eyes cannot escape it. On your desk, on your walls, on the very device in your hand. Let it surround you until it becomes impossible to forget. When fatigue arrives, when doubt whispers that you are finished, this image will surge within you, like a general shouting his army into battle, reminding you that retreat is not an option. But even fire, if scattered in all directions, produces only smoke. Which is why the fourth skill is focus, the ruthless control of attention. Today, distraction is not an accident. It is an industry, a machinery designed to capture your gaze, to shackle your mind, to turn sovereign men into obedient servants. If you do not master focus, you have already surrendered to another's empire. Audit your day. Count the hours that dissolved into nothingness, into idle screens, trivial games, hollow chatter. Then ask yourself, how many of those hours could have been sharpened into weapons that cut a path toward your ambition? Replace waste with concentrated action. Direct your attention as you would direct an army, toward the conquest that matters, toward the goals that place you closer to power. Machiavelli warned that the masses are deceived by appearances. They chase glitter and shadows. But the sovereign man sees through illusion. He refuses to bow before distractions and acts only on what strengthens his throne. In an age where attention itself is currency, to master focus is to mint your own coin, to create wealth, not only in money, but in mastery of self and destiny, expanding the mind and horizon. With discipline, emotional intelligence, self-motivation and focus, you have laid the foundation of sovereignty. But remember, foundations alone do not build empires. No fortress rises from sand. No throne endures without scaffolding. Machiavelli studied the great rulers of history, the ones who carved kingdoms from chaos, who turned fleeting moments into dynasties. He observed a truth as piercing as it is timeless. Those who triumphed were not only disciplined, they were also wise enough to expand their vision, to see around corners, to adjust strategy before their rivals even realized a battle had begun. The next four skills form the scaffolding on which true wealth is built. They are the tools that elevate a man from soldier to commander, from participant to architect of his own destiny. These skills are reading, long-term vision, continuous learning, and the art of selling. Without them, you will remain a soldier trapped in the trenches, firing shots at passing enemies, while the commander directs the war from above, seizing kingdoms others never even saw. The fifth skill, reading. Reading is the secret weapon of the few who outpace the many. Machiavelli himself immersed in the histories of Rome and Greece, scouring centuries of blood, ambition, and conquest, extracting lessons that others ignored. When you read, you are not merely consuming words. You are borrowing lifetimes of victories and mistakes, standing on the shoulders of generals, philosophers, and financiers who fought wars, built empires, and survived the collapse of nations. Think of a book as a treasury of strategies, each page a blueprint, each chapter a weapon. Invest just 1 hour a day and you compress decades of wisdom into your mind, equipping yourself with patterns and insights most will never glimpse. The wealthy read to sharpen their edge. The poor scroll through distractions, surrendering their attention to the noise of a world that has nothing to give. Start with works on strategy, persuasion, and wealth building. Then let each page turn into a new instrument in your arsenal, each sentence a step closer to mastery. The sixth skill, playing the long game. From knowledge we turn to foresight. Most men stumble because they chase what feels good in the moment. They trade the kingdom of tomorrow for the crumbs of today, sacrificing empires for fleeting pleasures. The long game is patience disguised as persistence. It is the ability to delay gratification, to endure the quiet, grinding labor that precedes triumph, to plant seeds whose fruit may not appear for years, yet whose harvest will change the trajectory of a lifetime. A man who masters the long game does not compete with the impatient. He outlasts them. He moves invisibly, deliberately, while others exhaust themselves on trivial battles. Every decision is measured not by immediate satisfaction, but by its place in the grand strategy of power. Each setback becomes information, each obstacle a stepping stone toward the destiny he has envisioned. Machiavelli warned with piercing clarity. Men are ungrateful, fickle, and often liars. To rule, therefore, is not to chase fleeting favor or ephemeral applause, but to cultivate enduring strength, a power that persists even when admiration fades. Wealth is never built in a season. It is not a harvest you reap in a month, nor a fortune you stumble upon overnight. True prosperity demands 7 to 10 years of relentless compounding, of patient, calculated effort. That span may seem long to the impatient, yet the years will pass regardless, whether you prepare or waste them. The real question is, will you arrive in a decade with an empire, or with nothing but regret? Set your long-term vision now. See it in precise detail, break it into milestones, then march toward them step by step, day by day. There is no elevator to sovereignty. The climb is yours to undertake. Each stair strengthens your muscles, your mind, your will. Each step compounds into the empire you envision. The seventh skill, continuous learning. The next pillar of power is continuous learning. The ability to absorb, adapt, and expand as the world shifts beneath your feet. A ruler who refuses to learn is doomed. Kingdoms that ignore innovation crumble. Stephen Hawking echoed this timeless truth centuries later when he said, "Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change." Machiavelli would have nodded in agreement, for he saw that fortune is fickle, and only those who adapt survive. Ask yourself, when was the last time you learned something that truly transformed your thinking? Something that sharpened your skill, broadened your vision, or improved the quality of your life? The sovereign mindset hunts for lessons everywhere. In books, in failures, in the observation of how the powerful maneuver, in the whispers of strategy that others overlook. To stop learning is to begin dying. To commit to learning is to stay a step ahead of every rival, to grow sharper than the obstacles, and to transform setbacks into tools for advancement. The eighth skill, the art of selling. Finally, we come to a skill most despise, the art of selling. Many recoils at the word, mistaking it for manipulation. But Machiavelli would have understood. Every exchange in life is a negotiation, from the cry of an infant demanding attention to the speech of a prince swaying allies. You are always persuading someone to trade, to give what they have in return for what you offer. Selling is not trickery. It is influence distilled into action. It is the skill of aligning desires, shaping perception, and guiding choices in a way that benefits your purpose. Those who master selling do not merely acquire wealth, they move people, ideas, and opportunities in alignment with their will. Those who reject it remain powerless, watching others reap rewards they could have claimed. To master the art of selling is to master leverage itself, the invisible force that turns potential into reality, transactions into alliances, and simple exchanges into empires. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear merciful, faithful, and humane, while beneath the mask they secured their power. This is selling at its highest form, the alignment of appearance with persuasion, where influence becomes invisible yet irresistible. To sell effectively is to understand value from another's perspective. It is to present an offer so compelling that refusing it feels irrational, even impossible. Whether persuading an ally, securing an investment, or trading a product for money, this skill is indispensable. Remember this law: people part with their money only when what they receive feels more valuable than what they give. Master this principle, and you master the bloodstream of wealth itself. Each of these skills, discipline, perception, vision, learning, persuasion, strengthens the mind and expands your horizon. They transform you from a disciplined soldier into a strategist capable of reading, planning, adapting, and persuading. But even knowledge and persuasion alone cannot win a war. You must now learn to command resources beyond yourself, to wield the time, labor, and loyalty of others as if they were extensions of your own will. This brings us to the next set of Machiavellian weapons. Up to this point, you have forged your inner arsenal: discipline, perception, vision, learning, and persuasion. But Machiavelli understood that no prince rules alone. Power is multiplied when you command the time, labor, and belief of others. Wealth is never the work of a solitary man. It is the art of directing resources beyond the self. The next four skills, outsourcing, sacrifice, marketing, and leadership, are the levers by which fortunes are built. The ninth skill, outsourcing. Outsourcing is the science of reclaiming your most precious asset: time. Fortune grants each man the same 24 hours. The poor waste them. The average man squanders them on distractions, obligations, and meaningless tasks. The sovereign, however, buys the hours of others. He delegates, he leverages, he positions himself above the trivial. By entrusting tasks to capable hands, he multiplies his reach, he amplifies his influence, he transforms limited time into unlimited impact. Outsourcing is not laziness, it is strategic mastery. It allows you to focus on the decisions that shape empires, while others carry the weight of execution. It turns a single life into a network of power, and a single hour into the motion of armies. Machiavelli taught that rulers delegate the lesser tasks, so they can focus on matters of state. You must do the same. Identify the repetitive, low-value tasks in your life and transfer them to others. Many cling to the illusion that no one can do it as well as they can. Yet perfection is the enemy of progress. Done imperfectly today is infinitely more valuable than a perfect plan that never moves. Every hour you free becomes another soldier in your campaign toward wealth. Every task handed off multiplies your capacity, turning limited energy into strategic power. The 10th skill, sacrifice. Sacrifice is the price of every empire. There is no wealth without something given up. Machiavelli noted that a ruler must sometimes act with cruelty in the short term to preserve power in the long term. In the same way, you must surrender comforts, indulgences, and trivial pleasures if you wish to rise above mediocrity. The dream may be free, but the throne is purchased with blood, sweat, and trade-offs. Ask yourself, are you willing to trade parties for study, consumption for investment, leisure for mastery? The man who avoids sacrifice avoids sovereignty itself. But the man who pays the price secures treasures that endure long after pleasures fade, treasures of freedom, wealth, and lasting influence. The 11th skill, marketing. Marketing is not the same as selling. Selling is the action of the seller. Marketing is the perception of the buyer. Machiavelli warned princes to craft appearances carefully, because men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Marketing is exactly this, the art of shaping perception. Consider the elites of today. They have sold bottled water, branded clothing, or even digital illusions worth billions. The product itself often mattered less than the story, the image, the perception wrapped around it. If you can master how others perceive your value, you can turn the simplest idea into gold. your brand, your reputation, your presentation. These are not trivial matters. They are the lens through which the world measures you, the currency that transforms effort into influence, and influence into lasting power. These are weapons of persuasion at scale. The 12th skill, leadership. Leadership is the ability to inspire and mobilize others toward your vision. Machiavelli wrote that men are won not by words alone, but by the spectacle of greatness. People follow strength, conviction, and example, not empty promises. If you wish to build something enduring, you cannot march alone. You must assemble a team that believes in your mission, enough to bleed for it, fight for it, sacrifice for it. This does not mean delivering hollow motivational speeches. It means embodying the discipline and vision you demand. When others see your sacrifice, they recognize the cost of greatness, and they join your cause willingly. When your ambition burns bright, it ignites those around you. The sovereign does not chase followers. He becomes so clear in purpose that others cannot resist standing beside him. With leadership, outsourcing, sacrifice, and marketing, you extend beyond yourself. You wield time, resources, and human energy as if they were instruments in your hands. But power gained is fragile. Even empires built with perfect strategy can crumble if not protected and multiplied. To become truly rich, you must learn to protect, adapt, and expand your wealth, while remaining brutally honest with yourself. The final set of skills reveals exactly how to do this. Guarding and multiplying wealth. Now that you have learned to command others, you must guard the fruits of your ambition. Machiavelli taught that power is never secured simply by conquest. True power lies in preserving what has been gained and expanding it with prudence, strategy, and vigilance. The final skills, money management, adaptability, networks, and ruthless honesty, determine whether your empire endures or crumbles. These are the defenses and multipliers of wealth. They are the disciplines that transform temporary fortune into lasting sovereignty. Without them, even the sharpest mind, the fiercest will, and the most devoted followers cannot prevent decline. Master these, and you will move beyond mere success or wealth. You will enter the realm of the truly sovereign, where power, influence, and freedom are secured, multiplied, and enduring. The 13th skill, money management. Money management is the stewardship of your financial army. Think of each coin, each asset, each investment as a soldier under your command. The foolish ruler squanders his troops on vanity and fleeting indulgence, watching them march to waste. The wise ruler, however, deploys his resources strategically. He sends them out to conquer new territory, to return with captives, profit, and opportunity. If you spend recklessly, you will remain poor, no matter how much you earn. But if you direct your wealth into assets, into multiple streams of income, your army grows stronger with every campaign, compounding power, influence, and security. Machiavelli cautioned against depending too much on mercenaries because they are unreliable in battle. In the same way, never rely on a single stream of income. Diversify your forces so that even if one flank falls, the rest of your army continues the advance, undefeated. The 14th skill, adaptability. Adaptability is the art of surviving shifting tides. Machiavelli observed that those who cling rigidly to one way of ruling eventually lose their state. The world changes faster than ever, and those who resist change are crushed beneath its momentum. Consider the lessons of modern history. Blockbuster fell because it refused to adapt, while Netflix seized the opportunity and conquered new markets. Yahoo laughed at buying Google for $1 million, and that arrogance destroyed them. Stephen Hawking's words echo this law across centuries. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. To be wealthy, you must adjust your tactics as fortune shifts. You must sense new opportunities, abandon dying strategies, and pivot with precision. Rigidity is death. Adaptability is survival. The man who bends with the winds of change emerges stronger while others break. The 15th skill, building a powerful network. The final skill is networking, surrounding yourself with quality allies, mentors, and minds sharper than your own. Machiavelli noted that a prince must choose wise advisors, for the first opinion a prince forms of his own intelligence is reflected in the quality of the men around him. You are, in truth, the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Surround yourself with weakness, and you inherit their fate. Surround yourself with brilliance, strategy, and loyalty, and you magnify your power, insight, and opportunity. A powerful network is more than connections. It is leverage, counsel, and foresight. It turns your plans into action, your ideas into execution, and your ambition into empire. Master these 15 skills: discipline, emotional intelligence, self-motivation, focus, reading, long-term vision, continuous learning, selling, outsourcing, sacrifice, marketing, leadership, money management, adaptability, and networking, and you will have forged the weapons of sovereignty. These skills transform you from a mere participant in life's game into a strategist, a commander, and a ruler of your own destiny. Fortune favors the bold, the prepared, and the relentless. Now equipped with these skills, you are ready to claim what is rightfully yours and to build a life, a legacy, and an empire that will endure. But if you surround yourself with strength, wealth, and vision, their influence elevates you beyond your current limits. A strong network does more than accelerate growth. It shields you from threats that would otherwise blindside you. The right allies can open doors that would remain closed for a lifetime. Above all, seek a mentor. Find someone who has walked the path before you, someone who has endured the battles, navigated the traps, and emerged victorious. A mentor compresses years of mistakes, failures, and lessons into a few words of guidance, saving you from ruin and speeding your ascent toward power and wealth. Finally, there is a hidden 16th law: brutal honesty with yourself. Machiavelli despised self-deception. It blinds rulers to their own weaknesses and makes them prey for the cunning. If you lie to yourself about your discipline, intelligence, or results, you will remain trapped in mediocrity. Admit where you are weak, and you can grow. Pretend you are strong when you are not, and you will collapse the moment pressure comes. Look in the mirror without illusion. Be humble enough to start small, disciplined enough to persist, and ruthless enough to correct your flaws. Only then will fortune respect you. You have now seen the complete arsenal, the 15 decisive skills, plus the hidden law of self-honesty. Each one is a weapon forged to transform your life, to cut through distraction, weakness, and doubt. Even if you master half of these skills, you are already on a path that most men never even discover. The choice is yours. Remain as you are, or seize these skills and reforge yourself into someone that fortune cannot ignore. Join the community of those who refuse mediocrity, who build sovereignty with discipline, strategy, and courage. Do not waste another decade. Begin today. Master yourself. Command your resources. Expand your vision. And one day fortune will kneel before you.